Well, that was definitely a different outcome than, well, not outcome, but a different second half than what we were projecting there.
Yeah, uh, the Seahawks um, put up a fight the second half, especially their defense. I think played a lot better second half, and offensively they ran the ball well. It looked like Collins hurt himself because I didn't see him the last few drives, so I was wondering where he went.
Yeah, no, that's what they were saying. A lot of the people on Twitter were saying that, Alex Collins was not in there, and no reason why. So I'll be watching it to see. But if he was in there, I guarantee you we would have been running the ball quite a bit more there in the overtime than we did, even though we did have quite a few chances there in the overtime.
Well, we try to run it with Travis Homer, and Homer is
He
I
did
don't
have
know.
some good runs though.
And he's a good receiving back, but he does not run well.
Yeah. So he's good out of the backfield.
He's good at blocking and he's a good receiving back, but uh, he has not ran the ball well. So I don't know, if you're going to use him in that extra, you know, put him in, put a little screen pass, uh, little flare out onto the side, something simple like that.
Hmm.
Get him on the edge because if he tries to run up the tackles, he can't do it.
No. And I want to say thanks to everybody joining us. This is the Teacher Dudes post game show. I guess we didn't really intro that very well. My name is Tyler Keefe, and along with me is Mark Pendleton, as always. And the Seahawks lose in overtime 23-20 in Pittsburgh. But Mark, you were mentioning, Travis Homer not being able to run the ball, but our left guard, the name is, I've lost their name, but they were out, that last little bit of the game too. So I think that had a huge impact on us not being able to run the ball,
Yeah.
especially when you leave Hayward just basically untouched to get in the backfield and just destroy things.
Well, I thought it was interesting though when we were having success running the ball in the second half is actually not off of our left side, is off of our right side.
Right.
That we are gaining all those yards, a lot of those cutbacks on that
Hmm.
right side. Shell was doing a nice job, and Gabe Jackson were doing a nice job sealing off that edge. And then you had the guards pulling on the other side. So I thought they did a great job, at least pass or rushing the ball in the second half. Their defensively, I thought they got a little bit more pressure on Ben. Uh, wasn't perfect, but at least there was some. You interrupted a few of his throws.
Yeah.
Um, I'm interested. We had a couple injuries in this game. Uh,
And
yeah,
and the
Damian
yeah,
Lewis.
Damian Lewis there. Thank
Yeah,
you, Dominic, for that.
yeah. So couple injuries in the game that I'm the Daryl Taylor injury, man, that
That
he
was
was like
brutal to
our
watch.
that's like our best pass rusher and so far this year, and he was just starting to show what he could do. He was the only one in the first half that could get even close to Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah,
Uh,
and luckily the reports out of Pittsburgh are that he is moving all of his extremities. No other reports than that, so that's always a good
yes,
sign that they're able
so
to do that.
hopefully he can be back sooner than later.
Yeah. At halftime it was 14-0, and at that point we were saying it was going to be a moral victory to just score. And right out of the gates, the Seahawks were able to run the ball really right down the throat of the Pittsburgh defense, and Alex Collins was able to cap off that drive with this touchdown here.
The runner, and it is a foul.
Gotcha, Terry. And the run by Collins is to the goal line and in for a touchdown. So Alex Collins does most of the.
And from that point, the defense did make a few good stops, and shortly after, Gerald Everett, who is a name that we have not really said much on this show, let alone they haven't really talked to him much, but he channeled his inner Marshawn with this catch here.
43. They bring a bunch of folks here. Smith has time and complete to Gerald Everett. The tight end spins out of a tackle. Everett running with a purpose all the way down to the 2-yard line. So,
he gets down to the 2-yard line, which helps set up this Uncle Will touchdown, which brought it up to 17-14.
Second and goal. Smith pulls it and throws it to Will Disley, the tight end, for the touchdown.
Now, at that point, things were crazy. And I'm just curious, what were you thinking at that point with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter? Did you think we had a shot to really get back in this game, or were you just like, it's a short-term thing?
I thought after that second touchdown, I thought the momentum was starting to shift in our favor, especially after we tied it up with the field goal. I thought, and then of course the Ben Roethlisberger fumble. I thought, we were gonna. That was like the peak. We're gonna come in. We were gonna score, and we were gonna take a hold of this game at that point. But
now the fumble.
Yeah, a couple of sacks put us out of field goal range, and I think that just killed our momentum at that point.
On that fumble, I'm going to show it here, but it was one of those weird calls. Luckily went our way, and Ben tried to channel his inner Tom Brady on this one.
So when the nose of the ball gets straight down like it does here, and then he loses it, that's a fumble.
Well, and then he tried to argue that was a forward pass, which, you can even see his arm trying to pull the ball back.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
how you even argue that?
Yeah, I think that was pretty clear.
Yeah, and, the Seahawks couldn't do anything after that at all. And then late in the game, the Steelers were driving, and this was when it was still tied 17-17, and Jamal Adams had what looked like the easiest interception he could have had all year. And I'll just let the video speak for itself as to what happened on this play.
Position, and you're going to see the hook route on the outside stop instead of what Ben thought was he was going to cross his face there, and for Jamal Adams, hit him right in the head.
Right in the face mask. And, if he would have caught that, I am honestly in the belief that we would have had a much different ending to this game. I think we could have gone down and kicked that field goal to win. However, the Steelers were able to get a field goal there, which made it 20-17. And we had a $1:30 on the clock, and we're driving down. And then one of the most Seahawks way possible, I guess I should say, we had this happen here.
Smith, they bring 5. Smith throws sideline. It's caught by Metcalf, who lost the football, and it's recovered by Swain. Inbounds with the clock running and no timeouts. And they scramble to kill it. Down to 3 and 2. They line up with 1. The clock in the...
Now, so many different things going on there. Why was DK so nonchalant about anything, and then fumbles? Luckily, Freddie Swain had, the no wherewithal, and they were saying that Russell Wilson was yelling at him to get up and go, which it just adds to the legend that is Russell Wilson. But then it was reviewed. They were reviewing the catch before the snap. So many things happened, which led to Mike Tomlin just being absolutely ticked off.
Yeah.
And, rightfully so. Then the Seahawks kicked the field goal, and in overtime, I didn't get a chance to get the clip, but they kind of traded possessions, and then Geno fumbles it, and the Steelers kicked the field goal to win. But I am pleasantly surprised by the amount of grit that this team showed in that second half when things weren't going well. not much to say. That the stats were what they were. They were looking a lot better. But if you were to summarize this whole thing up in your thoughts, what are you kind of thinking about the game as a whole?
I think if Seattle is going to have a chance, if they are going to get any chance of making anything out of the season, they are going to have to win these close ones. And when they came back and they did what they were supposed to do, and they needed to pull out the victory. And it's, as much as I love the grit and stuff, you got to put up the W if you're going to keep on this season going. I mean, or else we're going to just be the Detroit Lions, losing it every way possible, and everybody's like, oh, feel sorry for the Lions and the grit they have, but there's a reason why they're on the bottom of the league every year,
Yep. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. And looking now, we've dropped to 2-4. And next week we have the Monday night game against the Saints, and the following week we're at home against the Jaguars. I can see us riding the emotion of this one and going, maybe splitting those games 1-1. I mean, if we lose to the Jaguars, I mean, do I see that happening? Absolutely. I could see it happening the way that we've been playing. But, if we can come out of those 2 games with 2 wins somehow and end up going, then we'd be 4-4, hitting that home stretch of the year. Things are going to look a little bit different, but the injury bug, we've got to figure that out, and not just talking about Russell's hand, looking at our running game, our offensive line, and whatnot. So what are your thoughts going into the rest of the season? Not necessarily a whole season, but these next 2 upcoming games.
I think we got to be realistic and realize that the division is gone already.
Yeah.
And so we have to just hope that we can grab one of those wild card spots. And so, I don't know how many wins it's going to take, but I assume it's going to take at least 10 wins to get in a playoff spot. And what do we have? 2 wins?
2. We are only above the Detroit Lions and the New York Giants as far as the NFC standings. Yeah. So we've got a ways to go before we can even think about even the wild card.
So we are 6 games in, so we got 11 more games to go.
Yep.
So we have to go 8-3 down the stretch.
Yeah, and I agree here with Craig. Urban Meyer will prevent a Jaguar win. I absolutely agree with that.
Well, yeah, I don't, honestly, I've had a lot of hope for Seattle. I just don't have the hope this year. I just don't see that. I see this team have too many holes, especially defensively, that I don't see them making a run. And oh my gosh, my own daughter is trolling me on this.
Oh no, is this the one you're talking about right here?
Yeah.
Unreal. That's just amateur hour.
I already sent her a text and told her I disown her.
Well, understandably so.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's something. It's weird to be in this spot because you can see the talent that we have. You can see, what we're able to do, but we're not able to put it all together. And are we going to be in a situation that we're going to be sellers at the trade deadline to try to rebuild the second half of the season and just, hope for the best? Or are we going to make a push and, see what happens?
I don't think we'll be sellers because I don't think Pete's going to want to go out like that. But I have a real feeling that this is Pete's last year. And I have a real feeling that this is Wilson's last year in Seattle. And I think they're going to blow up the team after this year. Just because I think they're realistically they don't have the cap space, they don't have the resources, and they just have not drafted well enough to put something around Wilson,
Yeah.
that's gonna, especially on defense. So this is just my prediction. The only thing that would hold me back from that prediction is the fact that there isn't any good quarterbacks in the draft.
Right.
And so I don't think, Seattle may try to hold on to Wilson just because of that, but that also might play into them trading, because if they can get a team to give them high enough draft picks and a lot of draft picks for Wilson, knowing that there's nothing in the draft this year, then that might be something they do. But like I said, we'll have to see, but they're going to have to go 8-3 down the stretch, I think, to even have a chance to make it in the playoffs. And that means you're going to have to win the Jag game, and you're going to have to win. When is Wilson supposed to be back? Week 10?
Week 10.
So how many weeks is it?
So that's 4 games away. So against Washington.
So we got to win. We got to beat Washington. We got to beat the Jags, and
in there we got at Green Bay and the Cardinals. So that's going to be tough all around.
If we're going to try to win 8 games, you're going to have to have Wilson. You're going to have to win the next 3.
Yeah,
because you're not going to win against the Cardinals or at Green Bay with Geno as your quarterback.
Well, so the next 2 games are the Saints and the Jaguars. Then it's Green Bay.
Oh, okay.
And then Arizona, then to Washington. So really, based on what you're saying, we need to win 3 out of the next 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting you say Wilson, could this be his last year? And you heard it here first. Those of you that are listening, we're going to quote Mark Pendleton on this and blast it everywhere.
Right.
But the amount of leadership, though, that I saw out of him tonight, the fact that, coming off days after his hand surgery and, doing that weird pregame thing that he was doing, the 2-minute drill thing, but then being on the sideline, coaching the team up. And, one report was saying that he compiled a 15-page scouting report for the offense this week and doing all that stuff. And yet he could be at home sitting on the couch watching this game. I think that kind of tells me a little bit more about where he's at. Not saying what you're saying is wrong as far as where the team is at, but I don't see him doing any of that stuff if he's not planning to stick around for the long term.
He does the scouting report every week, so that's not anything new. He's been doing that for years.
But when he doesn't need to, when he knows he's not playing.
The one thing I do know about Wilson is he wants to win, and he is going to prepare himself as much as he possibly can, no matter what. And he's going to have that mindset that he's going to have. I'm not doubting that mindset's there, and I'm not doubting that he would do this during this break. But what I am doubting is I think him and Carroll, they don't see eye to eye anymore, and I don't think Wilson has any trust in Carroll.
Yeah.
I think that's where Wilson's going to look at it, and he's going to look at a guy like Tom Brady, and he says,
"Well, are you saying that Tom Brady's going to come to Seattle now?"
No, I'm saying he's going to look at how Tom Brady can move on. He can
move on and still be highly successful.
Yeah, and I think with and I don't know, if Carroll leaves, maybe Wilson stays. but I don't think both of them are going to be back next year.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting thought, and we're gonna have to, wait and see how that develops. It's something that I don't want to see, but I can easily see the rationale behind what you're saying and the possibilities that are there. Really quickly here before our final thoughts, just looking at some reports from Pete Carroll in this press conference, is the preliminary CT scans on Darrell Taylor were clear. He was up, moving, all that stuff, and more tests will come. But they are, quote from Pete Carroll, "We're thrilled about that news." And the other quote on Alex Collins, he got hit in the hip and the glute, which is why he couldn't go in overtime. So definitely, can't run, with your hip and your glute, aka your butt hurt.
Your butt hurt. He really has his butt hurt.
He was butt hurt. But it was a good thing to see some life out of this team and not just roll over and die like other teams in Seattle have done this year. Not going to mention any names, although your Cougs did win this week.
They're
but yeah, although you'll be looking for a new coach here shortly, it sounds like. So but it is what it is. But Mark, definitely want to thank you for joining me once again. We will be back next Monday night for Monday Night Football. And thank you to everybody that has been watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that fun jazz, so you get notified when we go live again, because we all know this is the best commentary out there.
Oh, yeah.
And you're not going to find anything better.
Oh, yeah.
Except, from real news outlets and, everything else.
And people
but it's always fun. But all right, Mark. Well, I will see you later. And everybody else, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon.